What would you do if the person you loved, a person of considerable wealth, was secretly taking from the most vulnerable members of your community? In today's story, the protagonist's choice when faced with this very dilemma is a masterclass in how to handle it. For 17 years, my relationship with my husband, Martin, has been my anchor. We've weathered storms together, and on the surface, things have been great. He's the main provider and earns a good salary, but I also have a significant trust fund. Ensuring our financial stability is never in question. Our household pulls in over $200,000 a year, which, in an area where the average income is less than $50,000, places us in a very privileged position. I work part-time as a teacher while I finish my university degree, and my smaller income mostly covers my tuition. But one issue has been a constant, grating presence in our marriage: Martin's extreme frugality. It goes beyond just being careful with money. He likes to control my spending and insists on having the final say on how his earnings are used. I've never touched his income and have no desire to. But the real point of contention, the one that makes my stomach turn, is his frequent trips to food banks. This isn't about need. Our pantry and fridge are always full. This is about him wanting to save money by taking resources meant for people in crisis. Martin saw this as a clever way to save a few dollars, completely unaware that this habit wasn't just unethical, it was a ticking time bomb that would eventually shatter the foundations of his 17-year relationship. He even has a routine for it. He'll put on old, worn-out clothes and specifically drive our beat-up second car so he looks the part. He's playing a role, conning people out of charity, despite never having known a day of true food scarcity in his life. As one commenter later put it, "It's sickening to think of someone dressing in dirty clothes and conning food out of the bellies of people that genuinely need it. You are married to a con man." I've tried everything to make him see reason. I've shown him desperate posts on social media from our local food banks, pleading for donations to meet the crushing demand. He's completely indifferent. I suggested he volunteer, hoping that seeing the faces of the people he was taking from would spark some empathy. He refused. The most infuriating part is the waste. We never run short on food, so most of the items he brings home from these trips eventually spoil and get thrown away. Food that a struggling family would have cherished ends up in our trash can. The breaking point came today. I opened our refrigerator to find it packed with beautiful fresh produce, high-quality meats, and other goods I knew for a fact didn't come from our usual grocery store. My heart sank. I knew where it came from. When I confronted him, Martin didn't even have the decency to look ashamed. He admitted he'd gone to a food bank after seeing a Facebook post about a large donation of fresh food they'd just received. My hands were shaking with anger as I pulled up that very same post on my phone. The comment section was filled with people asking if any of the fresh food was left. The answer, posted by the food bank just an hour after the donation arrived, was no. It was all gone. I held the phone up for him to see the names, the polite, hopeful questions from our neighbors. "Look," I said, my voice tight. "These are the people you took from." He just glanced at the screen and shrugged. "They should have gotten there earlier," he said, his tone casual, dismissive. This revealed Martin's greatest fatal flaw, a profound lack of empathy, a trait so deeply ingrained that it sealed the fate of his marriage. Another person online perfectly captured the distinction I was struggling to articulate. What your husband is doing isn't frugality, it's being a shitty person. In that moment, 17 years of shared history seemed to evaporate. I was looking at a stranger. Exhausted, disgusted, and utterly defeated, I walked into our bedroom, pulled a bag from the closet, and started packing. I didn't say another word. The silence in the house was heavy as I threw in enough clothes for a week. I needed space. I needed to be somewhere I wasn't suffocating with anger at the man I married. I left a simple note and drove to my brother Leo's house. Of course, Martin didn't take it well. He immediately started bombarding me with texts and calls, accusing me of overreacting and being vindictive. He threatened to go back to the food banks again and again, purely to spite me. Then, his family joined the chorus. Messages flooded in, calling me an asshole, telling me to get over it and stop trying to control him. In their rush to defend his choices, they failed to see the real issue. It wasn't about saving money. It was about a moral bankruptcy that no amount of wealth could ever fix. I turned off my phone, but then they started harassing my brother. Thankfully, Leo is my rock. He supports my decision completely and is ignoring their messages. I'm not leaving my husband, not yet at least, but I need these few days away to clear my head and get some clarity. I know I could just let it go, but I can't. That food he takes, that food he wastes, was meant for people who truly, desperately need it. I am not wrong for wanting this space to think. This story teaches us that a person's true character is often revealed not by their accomplishments, but by how they treat those with less power and fewer resources. True wealth is empathy, and exploiting systems meant for the needy is a sign of a poverty of spirit that no amount of money can cure. So I'll ask you, what would you have done in this situation? And do you think a relationship can recover from such a fundamental breach of ethics?